Welcome to the Modern Assyrian program on ANB SAT. My name is Carmen Morad. Our conversation today with our special guest today is Council Member Tony Madrigal, District 2 of the City of Modesto. Council Member Tony Madrigal was born in Turlock, California, and worked with his family on the farm up until he graduated from Houston High School. He attended Modesto Junior College and served as the school's first Latino student body president. Councilman Tony Madrigal graduated from the University of California, Santa Cruz with a Bachelor of Arts in Economics. There he served 2 terms on the Santa Cruz City Council from 2004 to 2012. He has devoted himself to extensive community service work in Modesto, including serving on the board of directors of the King Kennedy Memorial Center and on the Latino Community Roundtable of Stanislaus County, also known as LCR. He is an active member of the South Modesto Business United Group, a volunteer with the Manos Unidas United Hands Community Organization, and a supporter of the Stanislaus Asian American Community Resource, a nonprofit agency. Councilman Tony Madrigal was elected on November 5, 2013, to the Modesto City Council in District 2, where his primary focus has been jobs, safety, and community. Tony enjoys living in Modesto, where he can be close to his family and devote time to community service projects in this area. Councilman Madrigal's committee appointments include the chair of the Appointment Committee and a member of the Great Safe Neighborhoods in the City of Modesto. Welcome, Council Member.
Thank you so much for having me on the program, Carmen.
Well, first of all, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you, Council Member Madrigal. I know how busy you are as a council member, but before we begin, I'd like to congratulate you on your successful reelection, on your landslide reelection to District 2 by your own constituents.
I feel very humbled that the voters decided to give me another chance and continue the great work that we've gotten done over the last 4 years, focusing on jobs, safety, and community improvement. So to you, to all the voters, I want to say muchas gracias, Okun, thank you, Pasima, just thank you so much. I'm very humbled for the outpouring of support.
That was a wonderful, diverse thank you that you said, Council Member. Obviously, your constituents in District 2 re-elected you by voting for you, meaning that they trust you as the steward of their money, as someone to make decisions on their behalf. But not just them in that district, but you make decisions for the entire City of Modesto on the City Council. So let me ask you, Council Member, the last 4 years that you have served, what were some of the major challenges that you felt still need more work, that you need to work on as a body, as the council?
Economic recovery in Modesto hasn't fully been realized, I guess you could say, in the same way the rest of the nation has seen some of the economic recovery. And so the economic recovery arrives to the Central Valley especially at a much slower pace, I guess you could say. And so as a result, there's still a lot of people that need jobs. There's a lot of people that need housing. The housing market in Modesto is so competitive right now because we have such a low supply of housing and such a high demand, and especially affordable housing is a huge issue. And then just safety in the neighborhoods, crime. When times are tough, crime goes up. And so being able to counteract that with having enough public safety, staff, fire, police officers, but also having the type of community neighborhood efforts, initiatives, whether it's community, neighborhood capacity building, some good old-fashioned neighborhood watch that, happens. And I'm very proud that Modesto, for example, has, I believe, over 300 neighborhood watch groups registered at the city Modesto Police Department. And that's still not enough. We need more. I'm proud to share that with you that I'm a local neighborhood watch co-captain in my neighborhood where I live in West Modesto. I've been neighborhood watch co-captain now for going on 5 years, I believe now. And it really is just us, looking out for each other, and feels really good. Feels really good when, occasionally I've gotten a phone call like, Tony, there's this car parked in front of your house, who is that? And I said, oh, don't worry, that's my wife, she was meeting me there, or something. So, so anyways, but just I think economic opportunity, prosperity, we need to do more in Modesto to make sure that the economic recovery in Modesto happens by choice and not just by chance.
Tony, so you live by example. It's not just what you preach, you also live it as well. So going back to what the challenges are in the city of Modesto, you are also very much involved in charity, in quality of life issues. And when you mention Neighborhood Watch, you're also promoting civic engagement, which is the premise of our show, that we promote members of different communities and different municipalities to be informed so they can make informed decisions. Neighborhood Watch is one. That's probably why Modesto is #1 for National Night Out.
That's true.
Which is the first Tuesday in every August, where entire communities come out and they celebrate, working together, watching out for each other. Because not all law enforcement can do it for us. So tell me about the economic recovery in your district that you've been working on with downtown and making it more beautiful, making it more economically viable for not just the residents, but all those who actually visit City of Modesto.
Over the last 4 years, my focus has been the platform that I ran on, which was more jobs, more safety in the neighborhoods, more community improvement, community infrastructure, community revitalization. So I'm proud to share with you regarding jobs, specifically, I worked to help create over 500 jobs. And that was everything ranging from seeing an increase in local canneries that added lines of production, or they expanded their plants, and even seeing more professional office type of jobs that are in the works to come downtown. And that's everything ranging from the headquarters for a local specialty hospital. That they're going to bring all their headquarters to downtown Modesto. It's going to bring 300 jobs to downtown. We're talking also about having a UC Merced Office of Innovation. I think they call it a Venture Lab. And that's going to be opening up in the basement of the Modesto Center Plaza. And that is going to be free help for anybody that walks in off the street that says, I have an idea for a new business. And everything ranging from, access to computers, printers, help with actually writing a business plan, helping you sort of develop your idea for a new business. That's going to be in downtown Modesto. And then just, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't have any part in the new Smart and Final that opened, store that opened up in downtown. Nevertheless, we saw that happen. And then I'm very proud of the fact that we're going to get a brand new McDonald's in my district in West Modesto. And that should be opening up in the next couple of months. It's probably going to bring in probably a good 30 jobs or more on Paradise Road in West Modesto. I'm hoping that that's just the first of many economic development dominoes to fall, because you get a national player like McDonald's to open up in a highly underserved, historically underrepresented, low-income community like West Modesto, and my hope is that other investment, whether it's big name retailers will start to look at West Modesto in that corridor. I already heard a rumor that there's possibly a Rite Aid that's also considering opening up down the street on that same road, Paradise Road. And so this is what I mean when I say we need to continue the work that we've started over the last 4 years with focusing on economic development, deliberate economic development. And so one of the things that I've been working on for like the last 3 years is to bring another high-rise hotel to downtown Modesto on the other side of the Modesto Center Plaza. I don't know if you're familiar with the original plan, but we have a convention center, and we have one high-rise hotel, the DoubleTree, and then on the other side of the convention center, there's an empty parking lot. That empty parking lot was originally supposed to be the second high-rise hotel. It never happened. And part of what I've been doing over the last 4 years is that every time I come across a developer, I try to sell Modesto. You got to come to Modesto. We have over 200,000 people in our community. A lot of them commute. Some of it's a bedroom community. This is a huge market. You know, we're centrally located. You know, agriculture is a big part of our local economy. We have a lot of ag-related conferences that come. We don't have enough hotel capacity. And I've just been pushing it. I'm very happy to say there was one developer that was kind of interested, and then he put some feelers out, and he told me that there's actually some other national chains of hotels that have expressed interest. And you know, now we're taking steps with our City of Modesto economic development staff to be able to open that process up and say, Modesto has this piece of property. Is there anybody that wants to submit a proposal? And maybe we'll award it to a hotel chain. And next thing you know, maybe in 2, 3, 4 years, we'll see another big high-rise hotel in downtown Modesto. It'll be another economic shot in the arm for our downtown and actually just our citywide economy.
I've heard you say, Council Member, that Modesto is open for business.
I listened, and I have been listening to the complaints of the business community who has told me over and over that Modesto is not a friendly place to do business. And I really want us to change that perception, and I think part of that will be done through changing our policies and the way we treat prospective businesses looking at Modesto, the type of information that we make available to people that are considering opening up shop, and then also by how many successes we have of new developments that actually break ground and cut the ribbon and have grand openings. And I think only through that, series of successful economic upstarts in Modesto will we be able to turn that image around so that, give it 2, 3, 4, 5 years all throughout, the state, throughout the nation. When people talk about Modesto, they say, oh, Modesto, they're open for business. That's the type of reputation that I want Modesto to have.
I see. You mentioned ribbon cuttings, and you mentioned you're very hands-on in the community. It's obvious for anyone who has followed your career, and I have, that you are in the community, you're attending, you're promoting voter registration, you promote diversity and representation. I want to ask you about one of the things you worked on, which has been your field reps. You're the only city council member that has started volunteers, especially young people, young and not so young, to be involved and get to learn. The premise of our show is civic engagement, but tell us a little bit about what your vision was and how that's doing.
My vision was that Modesto as a city could possibly one day have enough funding available to hire field reps for every council member, just like state assembly members have field reps, Congress members have field reps, state senators have field reps. I think even county supervisors have staff, and they go and they represent them at community events and functions and activities when they themselves can't be there. I'm just as busy as some of these other elected folks, but we don't have a budget for that. So I decided I'm going to start a all-volunteer field rep program, and I'm very fortunate. We have about a couple dozen volunteer field reps that generously give of their time, and I send them an alert saying, there's a Chamber of Commerce mixer, or there's a ribbon cutting for a new small business that's opening up, and I can't make it. Can somebody go and represent me? And it's not an official city program, It's something that's all volunteer, and so we don't use any city resources or anything like that. But the folks will go, they'll represent me, and then they'll report back what they saw, especially if somebody approached them and says, oh, you represent Tony Madrigal? You know, I've been wanting to meet with him. I have an issue I need to talk to you about. Or whether it's something on the more personal level, at the, at the constituent level. Oh, you represent Tony? He wrote a letter of recommendation for my daughter for a scholarship, and guess what? She got into this college, and tell her mother says hi and that she's doing great, and thank you. You can't put a price on that type of continued connection to the community, and I'm very fortunate that we're able to do that through volunteers that say, I'll give them my time, I'll represent you, Tony, and in a very professional manner, of course. And so I'm hoping that this is something that can get replicated if, there's no rule that says we can't do it, so therefore we're doing it.
Council member, I want to ask you about how this all started for you as a young person. Obviously, you're a mentor to those who choose to volunteer for you and to learn from you. So what prompted you to be involved in civic engagement and be a civil servant?
Oh, man. I real quick, I'll just share. It started when I was a student at Modesto Junior College. I got involved in the student government as a student senator, and being just on the student senate, I realized there is no substitute for having a seat at the table. Because I'll give you one example. There was a local Latino club that wanted something from the student government. And so they showed up and they were advocating and voicing their concern. But the ones that had the power to actually make a decision to vote in favor or against, in this case it was, I think, some budget allocation for some activity that the Latino club wanted to do, they were the ones that had a voice. And they had a voice because they had a seat at the table. And I learned early on there's no substitute for having a seat at the table. So I ran for student body government. I was very happy that I won. And I guess you could say I've been bitten by the political bug since then. And so it even prompted me to change my major. I started out like a lot of students. I started out as a pre-med major. I said, I'm going to be a doctor, and next thing you know, I switched to economics because I said to myself, actually even my economics professor at the time said, if you want to, have a future in government, you should have at least a firm grasp of economics and, the economy, because that's sort of what, drives our society. And, if commerce can't thrive, then, that's the foundation for everything
budgeting
here.
and allocation of funds. Yeah.
My grandmother actually was a huge influence in my life. She would always just drill into my head in Spanish. She would always say, there's nothing like commerce. There's nothing like commerce. Comercio, she would say in Spanish, And so I guess we would say that's probably where it started, back in community college, because in high school, I was a shy guy. I was a shy guy, just kept my head down, and,
Like many high school students are and young people are. That's why it's so important for mentorship. It's so important to mentor those who perhaps know what they're interested in, but haven't really met their calling yet, like you have when you got bit by the political bug. So when you were talking about the Latino groups at MJC, I want to ask you a question about diversity in government. What does that look like in our city with a very diverse population that we have, with a cross-section?
But not so diverse, representation in elected positions in our local government, to say it bluntly. I think that one of the things that we need to change, especially at the local government level, is we need to change the way that, quite honestly, the local elected officials get compensated for their time. And it's not a very popular thing to say, pay politicians,
more money.
Increase the amount of money for their time, because it's not about the pay, it's about the service. And that's why I do it, that's why a lot of people do it. A lot of people, though, just can't afford to make, that financial sacrifice, to forego wages that they're earning at some job that they're probably commuting to, for getting involved and spending a ton of time here locally, but not being able to, feed their family or provide for their family. And Modesto, for example, they only pay you, as a council member, they pay $2,000 a month to council members and does not include any benefits. And so if you ask a council member, are you able to afford, living on that salary? Of course not. That's why a lot of council members are either they're retired, so they have retirement income, or they're independent business owners and they're able to count on that income, or they still have full-time jobs and they're juggling.
I see.
They're juggling being on the council and having a full-time job.
I see.
And so I believe that if we address the issue of a livable wage for local elected official positions, I think we might see an increase in a diverse pool of political candidates running for local office.
I see. Let's take a break and we'll come back with Council Member Tony Madrigal.
بعينات بغزايق شبرت بريتا وأمانوتا وخلقت سيارة بهيارتت عيناتن باليابخ بقرايخ وبكتابخ أنا نقايوتا كخامتت عيناتوخون سلامت بيش نزريز تهار ماشين بريشة كسخصتت عيناتوخون أن ماشين إينا رابا تكنيكاية بخادرقا اللايا تبوكن بي أسيا جون مايكل آفون اتلخا نسيانا رابا إرفيخا جدا جخلا سخصتت عيناتا سخصتا سلاماتويتا وخامتت بارد عيناتوخون ماسيتون سابيتون لجودة أسيا جون مايكل جو ريتنا انستيتوت of Illinois أسيا جون مايكل اتل سب سبيشالتي جو ريتنا وكامس غير قداني قاتلون مرض شاكر يان diabetic retinopathy, retinal detachment, macular degeneration, and complications of cataract surgery. Gumendit Chicago Grimon Alminiana telephone Shavamo Shovitla Shavamo Tmani Arpa Ichi Arpa Sipar Sipar. Gumendit Niles Grimon Alminiana telephone Tmaniamo Arpi Shava Tremo Ichi Shava Tmani Ucha Sipar Sipar.
We all have that one person we call, no matter what the situation or event. Who do you call when you've had a stressful day at work? When you get the news that you're having your first child, or that you landed your dream job? Now, what if you or a loved one have been injured and need advice? Who do you call? Think about it.
قبوش مطقانياته وبقارة قاعبيلوخون ماسيتون قاريتون علمنيانة تلمو تريسر وتجمو اسري اتشا تلايت منيا سيبار شافا توني اسكالاغراكوس and the associates ماسي هايريلان بيليشانا آتورايا.
Have you tried to get rid of that unwanted stubborn fat with diet and exercise, but it just won't go away? Is that stubborn fat spoiling your weight loss efforts or ruining your physique? Introducing Sculpture, a laser-based system that removes fat without surgery so you can enjoy a slimmer, trimmer figure. Sculpture allows you to remove fat from specific areas of your body like the belly, back, waist, and thighs. Sculpture removes slices of fat layer depending on a number of treatment sessions. Sculpture is a cosmetic procedure that is non-invasive and doesn't require incisions or surgery. Each session is 25 minutes long. It uses patented laser heat technology to target only fat layers underneath the skin, breaking down the walls of the fat cells and liquefying them so your body can carry the debris away over the course of 6 to 12 weeks. Dr. Fatima Pazuki is an experienced provider of sculpture treatments for patients in and around Turlock, California. Dr. Pazuki helps patients achieve the results they're seeking with individualized consultations and treatment plans. Call us at 209-216-3570 or book an appointment online.
Rose Express, bringing a personal touch to every arrangement. Rose Express will handpick the most beautiful flowers and bouquets for any occasions, from weddings to birthdays, anniversaries, funerals, and so much more. We have over 30 years of experience behind us, and we're voted #1 florist. Our award-winning floral designers will help create the best arrangements and centerpieces for any occasion. Weddings are our passion, and we will make sure you walk away with the best experience for your dream day. We offer complimentary wedding consultation. Contact us for a free consultation, and one of our design team members will work with you to create an event that you will not forget. You can reach us at 408-771-6140 or 408-564-7175. We are located at 3575 Stevens Creek Boulevard, Suite C, San Jose, California. Thomas Auto Sales, Gumantica, California. Qashavasar Shinne, Thomas Auto Sales, Itlanisiana Guzabentit Atmobile, Gumditit Mantica, California. Thomas Auto Sales, Kipelchi Raba Qishye, قميات خدوتا غزونانا قد بالت خدية بأوتوموبيل خاتي ين مبلخة بخات ديما رابا مرديانا. Thomas Auto Sales كم سخيرخ لكم بفاينانسينج وشغلت لونز. ميقرأ كمال توماس مارد توماس Auto Sales مقروب لي قيكوت زوناندني بديابل $10 ديسكاونت مال ليست برايس. أدرس دي ان إيلا 8 East Yosemite Avenue Gumdited Manteca, California. Kamsitun qaritun lan al 3 sipar ujja 3 la ujja sipar sipar.
Continuing our conversation with Council Member Tony Madrigal with City of Modesto. As we were talking earlier about low voter turnout and how important it is to be civically engaged and to register to vote and be informed about the issues rather than just complaining about them. Tell us a little bit about this odd even year and the possibility that you could be serving a 5th year in office. Tell us a little bit more about that.
The reason that's happening in the city of Modesto has to do with the new state law that was signed by Governor Brown, SB 415, which requires all cities that have an odd year election, that have a historically low voter turnout, I believe it's under 25% or less voter turnout, will be required to switch over to even year elections by the year 2022, I believe, or at least we have to have a plan to do so. So the city, Modesto City Council, at the last council, had a discussion about whether we ought to move to even years by adding 1 extra year to every council member's term, or subtracting 1 year from our terms. And the majority voted to put it on the ballot before the voters in November 2018, and we voted to present them with the option of switching to even year elections with an added year for the existing council members.
I see. That should be exciting. It should get more people motivated.
Well, I'm hoping that it'll definitely result in a higher voter turnout because typically during gubernatorial elections, which are in even years, or presidential elections is when you see a higher number of voters actually engage in the process, actually decide, I'm going to cast my vote. I mean, this year, for example, when I was running for re-election, I was knocking on doors, I had a few dozen voters that literally said to my face, oh, I don't vote, I only vote for president, you know, or I only vote, you know, when there's president up. So I'm hoping that some of those voters in an even year election will look at the ballot and they'll vote for president, and the hope is that they look down the ballot more. We call it down ticket. Look down the ballot further and look at some of the other positions that are up that are also, you know, potentially going to represent them, and that they'll decide, all right, I'll vote for one of these names too.
Council member, in 2016, the voters in California passed the cannabis
Recreational marijuana?
Recreation marijuana, as we call it, the cannabis recreation. And the city of Modesto has to comply by January 1st, and City Council will make a decision on the regulation and the different impacts and how this new law, that it is a law, it has been passed, what are the impacts that you feel that the city of Modesto has to comply with, and how, with code enforcement and the revenue that will come in, the residents can be watching out for?
Well, when it comes to recreational cannabis or recreational, marijuana use, there's no denying that the voters of California have spoken. It is now state law. And now every individual city has the option of either regulating this new industry and this new market or deciding that they're going to ban it outright. Our very own police chief in the city of Modesto has given us, I think, one or two examples of some towns in the state of Colorado where they also have recreational marijuana, and where there were some towns that decided to ban it in their town or in their city, but nevertheless they were surrounded on both sides by cities that were regulating it, that did have dispensaries and retail businesses that, sold it as a product. And so then you had the customers of these businesses still traveling through that town where it was banned, and you still had to have, police officers, public safety dealing with either people driving under the influence or some of the other public safety impacts in that town that was attempting to ban it in their city. Nevertheless, it was still being impacted. You still had to have police officers, their time, and energy dealing with this, but no extra money coming into the city budget to help pay for that additional needed policing. So in Modesto, we're going through the process of considering an ordinance where we're going to regulate that market so that we can tax this new industry, so that we can be able to take that tax money and pay for additional police officers, public safety, fire, and my hope is even do some public education campaigns for young people to teach them, stay away from using recreational marijuana. And so those are just some of the things that we're hoping to do, because if we decide as a city to ban this, we have our own reality where the city of Ceres, our neighboring city, and the city of Riverbank, they are moving forward with regulating this market. And we might be in the same situation as some of those towns in Colorado, where what if we ban it and we're the biggest city in Stanislaus County, and yet some of these other towns, again, are setting up shop at the edges of our city, and they're taking the tax dollars out of our town.
So regardless of how different individuals feel about it, it is a reality, and our city government needs to regulate it and deal with it to the best as we can, and take advantage of the revenue that will be coming in.
It will be a new industry.
Absolutely.
And it's just it's going to hopefully create some good paying jobs here in town, and again provide the city with the funding it needs to be able to deal with the impact on our city's public safety, basically neighborhoods, businesses, keeping Modesto just as safe as it was before January 1st of 2018, when this new state law goes into effect that was approved by the voters.
Absolutely. Council member, we talked earlier in our discussion, or in our conversation, I want to say, about when you were growing up and who were your mentors and who was an influence to you. Let's talk a little bit about the internship that you have started, and also your passion for charity, some of the projects that you worked on, Project Prom in West Modesto. Tell us a little bit about how the quality of life that you're concerned about your constituents and members of your district benefit from the work that you do.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning the citywide internship program. I'm very proud of, in my first 4 years in office, I pushed or advocated for the creation of a citywide internship program. And now it's in place. And so now a person that's a student can apply online, and they can try to get valuable work experience working in any of our city departments. And even at the city council offices, every council member is allowed up to 3 interns, and they can have hands-on experience here at City Hall, something that not everybody gets to do, and something that I only wish was available when I was growing up. And so we now have, I'm proud to say, a citywide internship program for students. regarding some of the I call it trying to, I know you call it charity. I really call it, trying to meet some unmet needs that are very specific. So there's two that are very near and dear to my heart that I helped start. One was Project Prom, where we collect new and gently used prom dresses, and also tuxedos and suits and whatnot. And we have one free shopping day where we put them all in a local venue, such as an event hall or something here in town. And we just invite the public, first come, first serve, come shop for a free prom dress, with all the accessories that are available, that people donate, shoes and all this other wonderful stuff. And we did it for 3 years. The last couple of years I just did not have time to do it. I'm thinking about trying to do it next year again. Another community event that I'm very proud that we've done for like the last 4 years, I believe, is the in South Modesto. It's the annual Child Safety Seat Check event, and last year we renamed it the annual CSO Rochelle Johnson Child Safety Seat Check event. We named it after a sheriff deputy who was killed tragically in a car accident, community service officer Rochelle Johnson, who was very passionate about child safety seats. And so what we do is we have officers that are trained child safety seat technicians that educate parents on how to properly install a child safety seat, the baby car seats that they call them.
Sure.
And then we also have a lot of generous donors that donate actual brand new child car seats, so that when they educate a parent and they say, this is how you properly install your car seat, and by the way, this car seat is no good anymore, it's expired. Can you afford to go buy one now? And if the parent says, I don't have any money for that, they say, well, we happen to have some baby car seats here available.
I see.
And we've done that for 4 years now in South Modesto at Los Amigos Tire. And there's been tons of generous donors that have provided up to 60 car seats every time. And believe it or not, we actually get more people that just show up and want to just learn, how do I correctly install this child car seat? And so it's a wonderful event, and we do it from like 8 a.m. to 12 noon on a Saturday, usually in early May or late April. And that's another event that I'm very proud of that we've done in Modesto. And these are just two examples of how you present an idea to folks, and they come together, and they say, let's make this happen. Another event that I'm very proud of that we've done for 2 years now is the Downtown Modesto Trunk or Treat. And this event has been hugely successful. Last year was the first year that we did it. We had over 3,000 people come to downtown and see. We had over 30 cars with their trunks open, handing out candy, all free for the community. And it was a huge boost to our local businesses who once again saw a big influx of, people, shoppers, people eating, in the eateries downtown and whatnot. And then they're telling their kids, go trick or treat, I'm going to be here having appetizers, And this year, we had easily over 5,000 people come to the second annual Trunk or Treat in downtown Modesto. And next year, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And so those are just some of the things that we've done. And that Trunk or Treat was a car show. And so all the proceeds went to benefit the Awesome Spot Playground, which is a playground that we're hoping to build in Modesto and fundraise for. And it's going to be a playground for children with disabilities and without disabilities. And we're trying to raise a bunch of money for that to build it in North Modesto, right next to Byer Park.
That's amazing. That's a lot of good news.
Yes.
And also a very valuable service, council member, to especially new moms or those, as you mentioned, who cannot afford to provide that safety for their baby. So in closing, what I would like to ask you, Tony, I know that you have attended a lot of Syrian community events that I've invited you to, and you've been invited to by different organizations. Which one is the one that really stays with you, that has to do, you've attended festivals, you've attended the Syrian American Civic Club of Turlock, our New Year's, and I see you dancing, I see you hold hands and, really engage, and I know you know a few Syrian words.
Yeah, I remember Basima and Shlama Lakhun. I think that's about it. So far.
That's
So-
pretty good.
and
That's
so,
really good.
I find myself when I'm around, certain people that speak Assyrian, I'm just saying thank you a lot to everything. And so I'm like, basima, basima, basima. And so probably one of my favorites, a lot of my favorite Assyrian community events are the ones that really speak about the history, the culture, because that has to do with a pride in your own identity. And if you're able to know about somebody's, their ethnic background, their history, why does their culture, their community do this or that or celebrate something, I just think that provides for a deeper connection. For example, if somebody says, why is it that, in Mexican culture they don't really focus on Halloween, they focus on the day after Halloween, the Day of the Dead so much. Why is that a big deal? Oh, well, let me explain to you. And just being able to understand each other more, I think, provides for greater connection, greater understanding, hopefully being able to then work together to really improve our community at the local level. And, having that basis for a connection is stronger than anything you can think of, because that's relational, and that's relationship. And I think relationship trumps, political ideology and all these other things that maybe, some of these political pundits and whatnot try to do to create a wedge between our communities. And we're actually more alike, and we can be more united, and a lot of it can be achieved through cultural exchange. And in this case, the more times I get to go to an Assyrian festival, the Assyrian flag raising ceremony, all these events, keep inviting me and I'll keep showing up.
I will do my best. And thank you for always showing up and accepting our invitations. You have done that from the beginning when you were elected in office, and we do appreciate that. And it does bring us closer together because we have such a strong history of, almost 7,000 years, 6,700 over. And we have such a rich heritage, as you said, very proud of our culture and maintaining it in our language. So we will invite you every time, council member, and thank you for attending. In closing, do you have any words to our viewers, to your constituents, and the community at large?
Just want to say thank you for having me on the show. Basima, basima, basima. And for any folks that are interested in either getting involved, I definitely want to encourage people to apply to be on our city commissions. Coincidentally, I am the chair of the city appointments committee that makes the recommendations to the council on who to appoint to the commissions. And definitely want to encourage everybody, if you have not yet registered to vote, you can register to vote online. It's very easy. Go to sos.ca.gov and you can register online, and they'll mail you the thing to sign, and then ta-da, you are registered. If you'd like to either get involved with any of the work that I do or follow any of the work that I do, just follow Tony Madrigal on Facebook, and you'll see a ton of the work that I do. If any of you folks that are watching live in Modesto, please do your part to help clean up our city by downloading the Go Modesto app on your smartphone and taking a picture of every pile of trash, abandoned shopping cart, graffiti tagging, pothole in the street, or broken sidewalk. Any issue, you can take a picture of it and report it to the city instead of simply complaining and saying, why don't they fix that? You can be a part of the solution too. You can be part of our phone force and just take a picture. So again, basima, basima, basima to Modern Assyrian, and to you for having me on your show.
Thank you, Council Member Madrigal. I appreciate your time. This concludes our conversation with Council Member Tony Madrigal in the City of Modesto. Thank you. We'll see you on the next program.